for another deep dive. As the weather gets colder here, it's time to talk about something that's probably on everyone's mind. Flu season.
Yeah, and this year, there's something else we have to think about.
Oh, what's that?
Well, Australia just had its worst flu season ever recorded.
So everyone's wondering, are we going to have the same thing here in Canada?
Exactly.
We're looking at a global news video report.
From Edmonton.
Yeah, published November 27th, 2024, just a couple of days ago.
They looked into this whole Australia situation pretty closely.
And it is kind of interesting because, what happens in Australia's flu season often gives us a preview
Yeah, sort of a glimpse of what we might see here.
because their seasons are opposite.
Exactly, everything's flipped.
And the flu tends to travel across hemispheres.
Yeah.
So the report doesn't hold back
No,
about the fact that Australia had a record-breaking flu season.
the worst one ever recorded.
Yeah.
And to get some perspective on what this could mean for us here in Canada, they talked to Dr. Brian Conway.
He's the medical director at the Vancouver Infectious Diseases Center.
Okay, so Australia had it rough, maybe a sign of things to come for us.
Right.
What does Dr. Conway say Canadians should do about it?
Well, he has one main message. Get vaccinated.
Okay.
That seems to be his most important piece of advice.
Yeah, it's the classic advice, but sometimes we need to hear it again.
Definitely, it's human nature to kind of push those things aside.
Yeah.
But Australia's experience, it really shows us
Yeah.
that flu season is serious business.
Yeah, so we've got this warning
For down under.
from Australia, and Dr. Conway's telling us to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
But the report, it doesn't really go into
Yes,
why this flu season was so bad in Australia.
it doesn't.
So why was it so bad?
That's a great question.
What are the factors?
Right. What contributes to a severe flu season in any region?
Yeah, is it just the virus itself?
Or is there more to it?
I'm sure there's more to it.
Yeah,
There are probably lots of different things going on.
absolutely. Lots of moving parts.
Like different flu strains, maybe vaccination rates,
Right.
even things like the weather.
Exactly. It's like all these pieces of a puzzle
Yeah.
that determine how bad a flu season's going to be.
Yeah.
If we understand those pieces, then we can be better prepared.
Okay, so a proactive approach,
Exactly.
not just reacting.
Right.
So beyond vaccination,
Uh-huh.
what else can people do to protect themselves?
Okay, well, we all know the basics,
Yeah.
like washing our hands,
Yeah.
staying home when we're sick.
But there's more to it than that.
I think so. There's another layer of protection
Okay, I'm intrigued.
that often gets overlooked.
Okay, what is it?
Social distancing.
Oh, social distancing.
I know it sounds a bit extreme.
Yeah, for the flu, it does sound a little extreme.
But think about it, it can be really effective in reducing transmission,
Okay.
especially in crowded places
Okay.
or during peak flu season
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So I remember social distancing
Was
being a
it-
thing.
a few years ago.
Yeah, but how does it apply to the flu?
It's about keeping our distance from others,
Okay.
but it's also about being more mindful of the ways we interact.
Okay.
Maybe skip that big indoor gathering
Yeah.
when there are lots of flu cases going around,
Okay.
or having a virtual meeting instead of meeting face-to-face.
Okay, I see.
Right. So it's about adapting our behavior
Yeah.
based on the risk.
Yeah, it's like driving in bad weather.
I love that analogy.
You're more cautious.
Yeah.
You slow down. You give yourself extra space.
Exactly. Those small adjustments can make a big difference.
Yeah.
In this case, when it comes to our health
Yeah.
and the health of the people around us.
Okay, so we've got vaccination.
Uh-huh.
We've got basic hygiene,
Right.
social distancing.
Yeah. Tools in our flu-fighting arsenal.
Okay, but how effective is the flu shot, really?
That's a great question.
Does it actually work most of the time?
That's what everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
And it can vary from year to year.
Okay, so what affects how well it works?
Well, one of the biggest things is how well the vaccine matches the flu strains that are going around.
Okay.
And that's why it's so interesting to see what happens in Australia.
Yeah.
Because it can give us some clues about what might be coming our way.
Okay.
So scientists look at global flu patterns,
Uh-huh.
and they try to predict which strains will be most common,
Yeah.
and then they design the vaccine based on that.
So it's kind of a guessing game.
In a way. Yeah.
Trying to stay ahead of the virus?
Right. And sometimes they get it perfectly right,
Uh-huh.
and the vaccine offers excellent protection.
But other times?
Sometimes there's a slight mismatch,
Okay.
and the effectiveness might be a bit lower.
But it's still offer some protection.
Absolutely. Even when the match isn't perfect,
Okay.
the flu shot can reduce the severity of your illness,
Okay.
and it can lower the risk of complications.
So even if you do get the flu, it's probably going to be milder.
Exactly.
Okay, it's like wearing a seatbelt. It might not prevent every accident,
Right.
but it can really reduce the impact.
Perfect analogy.
Okay.
And that brings up another important point about vaccination.
Okay.
It's not just about protecting ourselves.
It's about protecting others,
Exactly. It's about protecting the people around us.
the people who might be more vulnerable.
Yeah, those who might get really sick from the flu.
You're talking about herd immunity.
Exactly.
If enough people are vaccinated,
Yes,
it creates a sort of shield.
a protective barrier.
Yeah, for those who can't get vaccinated.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a collective responsibility.
Yeah.
We're all looking out for each other.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits
A vaccination.
and herd immunity.
Yeah.
But what about the other side of the coin? What about the risks of getting the flu shot?
Well, it's important to address those concerns.
Yeah.
The flu shot, like any vaccine,
Yeah.
can have side effects.
Okay, what kind of side effects?
Usually they're mild and don't last long.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
The most common ones are soreness,
Okay.
redness at the injection site.
Okay.
You might also have a low-grade fever,
Okay.
maybe some muscle aches,
But they go away pretty quickly.
usually within a day or two.
Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. But are there any serious risks?
So it's important to talk about those concerns.
Yeah.
Serious side effects are very, very rare.
Okay.
And it's always important to weigh those rare risks against the risks of getting the flu,
Right.
which can be much more serious.
Especially for certain people.
Exactly.
So it's about making an informed decision
Absolutely.
based on the best available evidence.
Right. And if you have any concerns,
Yeah.
talk to your healthcare provider.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They can give you personalized advice.
Okay, so we've talked about the risks.
Yeah.
We've talked about prevention.
Uh-huh.
But what if we do get sick?
Well, the most important thing, and I know it can be hard,
Yeah.
is to stay home
Okay.
if you're not feeling well.
Yeah. But that can be a challenge.
I know.
Work and stuff.
It can be,
Mm.
but it's the best way to prevent spreading it to others.
Okay, so it's about prioritizing everyone's well-being.
Exactly.
So we're staying home. What else can we do to manage the symptoms?
Well, rest is really important.
Okay.
Your body needs energy to fight off the virus.
Okay.
So sleep in, take naps, don't push yourself,
Sounds good to me.
and stay hydrated,
Okay.
especially if you have a fever.
Okay, so sipping on water.
Yeah, water, broth, herbal teas,
What about over-the-counter medications?
those can definitely help.
Yeah.
Pain relievers like acetaminophen or ibuprofen
Okay.
can help reduce fever and aches.
Okay.
Decongestants can help with stuffiness,
Uh-huh.
and cough suppressants can help you get some rest.
But it's probably a good idea to talk to a pharmacist
Yes.
or a doctor before taking anything.
Especially if you have other health conditions
Okay.
or taking other medications.
Right, getting the right advice.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're resting, staying hydrated,
Right.
maybe taking some over-the-counter meds.
Yeah.
Any other tips for managing symptoms? Any home remedies?
Well, here's one that a lot of people forget about.
Okay.
Gargling with salt water.
Oh, yeah.
It can really soothe a sore throat.
Okay.
Simple but effective.
Oh, have to try that.
Yeah. And a warm bath or a shower can help too.
Oh, yeah, that's always nice.
Loosens congestion, makes you feel a bit better.
Okay.
And using a humidifier can add moisture to the air,
Yeah.
which can make breathing easier.
Okay, so we've got lots of tips for managing symptoms at home,
Right.
but when should we actually seek medical attention?
That's a great question.
When does it go from, I can handle this at home, to I need to see a doctor?
Most people with the flu will recover at home
Okay.
with rest and fluids.
But there are some warning signs.
Absolutely. Some red flags to watch for.
Like what?
Difficulty breathing,
Okay.
chest pain,
Okay.
confusion,
Okay.
severe dehydration.
Okay, those are serious.
Yeah, if you have any of those,
Yeah.
seek medical attention right away.
Okay, and what about for kids?
Oh, yeah. For children, you want to watch for a high fever,
Okay.
seizures,
Okay.
difficulty breathing,
Okay.
bluish skin.
Okay, so those are signs to see a doctor immediately.
Absolutely.
Okay, better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
The risks, preventative measures, managing symptoms.
Uh-huh.
What would you say is the most important takeaway?
Oh, if I had to pick just one thing,
Yeah.
it would be this. Flu season is unpredictable,
Yeah.
but we can minimize our risk
Okay.
and protect ourselves and our communities
Okay.
by being proactive, informed, and taking those simple steps we talked about.
Yeah, I like that. It's not about being scared.
Yeah.
It's about being prepared.
Exactly.
Taking control of our health.
Right, making informed choices.
Okay, well said.
We're not powerless.
Well,
We can all contribute to a healthier community.
awesome. Well, that's it for part 1 of our deep dive on flu season preparedness.
We've covered a lot.
But we've got more to explore in part 2, so stay tuned.
We can't really predict the future
Yeah.
with like 100% certainty when it comes to flu season.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some things we can look at
Oh,
to
go.
get an idea of what might happen in Canada.
Okay, so what kind of things? Like, are there early warning systems for flu season?
Not exactly like weather forecasting,
Okay.
but we can get some clues.
Okay.
One of the most important factors is what happened in the Southern Hemisphere.
Okay, right. Australia.
Exactly. Australia's experience
Yeah.
can be a really good indicator for what we might see here.
So their bad flu season,
Uh-huh.
it definitely raises the risk,
It does.
but it doesn't mean for sure we'll have the same thing here.
Exactly. It's a piece of the puzzle,
Okay.
but it's not the whole picture.
Okay, so what else do we need to consider?
Well, we need to look at the specific flu strains that are circulating globally,
Okay.
our vaccination rates here in Canada, and even things like weather patterns can play a role.
It's like this big, complicated equation.
Yes,
And we're
it's-
trying to figure out
Yeah,
how bad is it going to be?
right. And there's no way to know for sure
Yeah.
until we're in the thick of it.
Okay.
But staying aware of these factors
Mm-hmm.
and taking precautions
Uh-huh.
can help us be prepared.
So prepared, not panicked.
Exactly.
I like that.
So speaking of staying informed,
Yeah.
one of the most important things we can do during flu season
Okay.
is to keep up with the latest recommendations from health authorities.
Okay, so we're not just relying on what we've talked about today.
No, yeah, stay updated.
Checking those official sources.
Exactly.
Good to know.
It's like checking the weather forecast.
Yeah.
You may have a general idea.
But you want to know the details.
Right, to make sure you're prepared.
Okay, so I have a question.
Sure.
We keep talking about vaccination,
Uh-huh.
but how effective is the flu shot, really?
That's a question everyone has.
I knew.
And the answer
Yeah.
is not a simple yes or no.
Okay.
The effectiveness can change every year.
Okay, so why is that? Why are some years better than others?
Well, a big part of it is how well the vaccine matches the flu strains that are actually going around.
Okay, so this is where Australia comes in again.
Exactly.
Their flu season can give us a preview
It can.
of what we might see.
Right, so scientists use data from all over the world,
Yeah.
including Australia,
Okay.
to try and predict which strains will be most common.
Okay.
And then they use that information to design the vaccine.
So they're trying to hit a moving target.
You could say that.
They're trying to anticipate what the virus is going to do
Exactly.
and make the best vaccine possible.
And sometimes they get it spot on.
Ah.
The vaccine provides excellent protection.
But other times.
Sometimes there's a mismatch,
Okay.
and the effectiveness is lower.
But it still offers some protection, even when it's not a perfect match.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It can still reduce the severity of the illness and lower the risk of complications.
So even if you do get the flu after getting the shot,
Uh-huh.
it's probably going to be a milder case.
Yeah, it's like wearing a seatbelt.
I like that analogy. We're using it a lot today.
It's a good one.
It might not prevent every accident,
Right.
but it can reduce the impact.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important point about vaccination.
Okay.
It's not just about protecting ourselves.
Right. We talked about this earlier.
We did.
Herd immunity.
It's also about protecting the people around us
Yeah. The people who are more vulnerable.
who might get really sick from the flu.
Okay. So if enough people are vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
it creates that protection.
Yeah, protect a barrier.
For those who can't get vaccinated.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's about being responsible
Yeah.
for ourselves and for others.
So we've talked about the benefits
Of vaccination,
and herd immunity. What about the risks?
of getting the flu shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to talk about that too. People have concerns.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
So the flu shot,
Uh,
like all vaccines,
Yeah.
can have side effects.
okay, so what kind of side effects are we talking about?
Usually they're very mild
Okay,
and they don't last long.
so what are the most common ones?
Well, you might have some soreness
Okay.
or redness at the injection site,
Okay,
maybe a low-grade fever,
okay.
some muscle aches,
Okay, but those go away pretty quickly.
usually within a day or two.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
No.
But what about the more serious stuff you hear about?
It's important to address those concerns.
Yeah.
Serious side effects from the flu shot are extremely rare.
Okay, that's good to know.
And it's crucial to weigh those very small risks
Yeah,
against the risks of getting the flu.
right.
which can be much more serious.
Especially for certain groups.
Exactly.
So it's all about making an informed decision
Absolutely.
based on the evidence.
And if you're worried or have questions,
Yeah.
talk to your doctor. They can give you the best advice for your situation.
So we've talked a lot about vaccination.
We have.
What happens if, even after doing everything right, getting the flu shot, washing our hands, we still get sick?
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
So what's the best way to deal with the symptoms at home?
And how do we make sure we don't spread it to others?
Okay, so rule number 1,
Okay.
and I know it can be hard,
Yeah.
stay home
If you're sick.
if you're not feeling well.
That can be tough.
I know, but it's so important.
Yeah.
It's the best way to prevent spreading the virus.
So it's really about thinking of others,
It is.
putting their well-being first.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're staying home. What else can we do to feel better?
Rest is crucial.
Okay.
Your body needs all its energy to fight the virus.
Okay.
So sleep in, take naps, don't overdo it,
I like the sound of that.
and make sure you're staying hydrated,
Okay.
especially if you have a fever.
So sipping on water?
Yeah, water, broth, herbal teas, anything to keep those fluids up.
Okay, what about over-the-counter medications?
Those can definitely help.
Yeah.
Things like acetaminophen or ibuprofen
Okay.
can help reduce fever and aches.
Okay.
Decongestants for a stuffy nose,
Mm-hmm.
and cough suppressants can help you sleep.
But it's probably a good idea to check with a doctor or pharmacist before taking anything.
Especially if you have other health conditions
Yeah.
or are taking other medications.
So getting personalized advice.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're resting, we're staying hydrated, maybe taking some over-the-counter meds.
Right.
Any other tips? Home remedies.
Oh, here's a good one that people often forget.
Okay.
Gargling with salt water
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
can really soothe a sore throat.
Okay.
And it's so simple.
Easy to do at home.
Exactly.
Okay, any other home remedies?
A warm bath or shower can help too.
Oh, yeah, that always feels good.
It can help loosen up congestion,
Okay.
and using a humidifier can add moisture to the air, which can make it easier to breathe.
Okay, so we've got lots of tips for managing symptoms,
We do.
but when do we need to see a doctor?
That's the big question.
Yeah, when does it go from something we can handle at home
Right.
to something more serious?
So most people with the flu will recover at home,
Okay.
just with rest and fluids.
But there are some warning signs.
Yes, some red flags.
Like what?
Difficulty breathing,
Okay.
chest pain,
Okay.
confusion,
Okay.
severe dehydration.
Those sound serious.
They are, if you experience any of those,
Yeah.
seek medical attention immediately.
Okay. And what about for kids? Are there specific things to watch out for?
Yes, for
Yeah.
children, you want to be especially alert for a high fever,
Okay.
seizures,
Okay.
difficulty breathing,
Okay.
or bluish skin.
Those are all signs to see a doctor right away.
Absolutely, don't hesitate.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Exactly.
All right, so we've covered a lot in this part.
We have.
We talked about the effectiveness of the flu shot, how to manage symptoms at home, and when to seek medical attention.
It's all about being prepared.
Right, and we've got even more to explore in part 3. So we've talked a lot about what individuals can do to be prepared for flu season.
Yeah, all those preventative measures.
Right, but earlier you mentioned something about the healthcare system as a whole.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like, what steps can we take as a society to make sure our healthcare system is actually ready for a potential surge in cases?
That's a really important point.
Yeah, it's like we've been focused on our own personal preps.
Yeah, like our own little toolkits.
Exactly, but now we need to think bigger.
We do, because a strong healthcare system is essential for managing a bad flu season.
Especially if we see a surge in cases like Australia did.
Exactly. That's the kind of situation that can really put a strain on resources.
So what do we need? What are the key ingredients of a strong healthcare system, specifically when it comes to flu season?
Well, first and foremost, our hospitals need to have enough beds.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And not just beds, but also equipment
Yeah.
and trained staff.
To handle all the patients.
Exactly. If too many people get sick at the same time,
Yeah.
it can overwhelm the system.
Right, and we definitely don't want that to happen.
No, we don't. So making sure hospitals have the capacity to handle a surge in demand is crucial.
Okay, so what else is important?
We also need to invest in public health infrastructure.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, things like strong surveillance systems
Okay.
to track flu cases effectively.
Yeah, so we know what's happening.
Exactly. And enough testing capacity
Okay.
so we can quickly identify and isolate new cases.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And having really clear communication strategies.
Oh, yeah, that's important too.
so the public is informed and knows what's going on.
Right, so it sounds like we need a multi-pronged approach.
Absolutely.
Involving hospitals, public health agencies, and clear communication with the public.
All working together.
Yeah, is there anything else we should be considering?
I think research and development is really important too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We need to keep investing in new vaccines.
Yeah.
Better antiviral medications.
Okay.
And other tools to fight the flu.
Right, because the virus keeps evolving.
Exactly. It's a constant arms race.
We need to stay ahead of it.
And we can't forget about public awareness campaigns.
Oh, right.
We need to educate people about flu prevention.
Yeah.
How to recognize symptoms.
Okay.
And what to do if they get sick.
So, clear, accurate information.
Exactly.
So people can make the best decisions for themselves and their families.
Exactly. It's about empowering people with knowledge.
So it's not just about individual action.
No, it's bigger than that.
We need a strong healthcare system.
Oh, good.
We need ongoing research.
Yes.
And we need to make sure everyone has access to good information.
It's a collective effort.
It really is. It takes a village.
And it's not just a one-time thing.
Oh, you mean it's not just something we think about during flu season?
Exactly. We need to be thinking about flu preparedness all year round.
That's a great point. It's easy to forget about it when it's not top of mind.
But it's important to have that long-term perspective.
Yeah, you've given us a lot to think about.
I hope so.
It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of it all.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
Exactly. And that's what I hope you take away from this whole conversation.
Okay.
We've explored the risks of flu season.
Yeah.
Talked about ways to protect ourselves.
Practical steps.
Right. And how to manage symptoms.
And we talked about the importance of a strong healthcare system.
And ultimately, it's about taking responsibility for our health.
Yeah.
Staying informed and making smart choices.
And contributing to a healthier society.
Exactly.
That's a great message.
We all have a role to play.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on flu season preparedness.
It's been a great discussion.
I agree, and I hope everyone listening found this helpful and informative.
Me too.
Remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
By taking those simple steps we talked about.
Yeah.
You can protect yourself and your loved ones this flu season.
Stay curious, stay informed,
and stay healthy.
Until next time.
Happy exploring, everyone.